well, a new survey conducted by the Toronto Region Board of Trade finds that nearly 50% of GTHA citizens are growing less optimistic about the region's economic future, and that economic growth should be top of mind for all levels of government.
So for more on the numbers, we're joined this morning by Giles, Gherson, CEO of the Toronto Region Board of Trade. Giles, good to talk to you this morning. How much of a concern are these numbers and this kind of, sentiment out there amongst, business, people, industry, that the city is not on the right track, basically?
Well, I think businesses have been concerned for some time. Certainly at the Board of Trade, we've been quite concerned about the slow growth economy for several years now, really in part because we've had rapidly growing population, which is great, but the economy not growing fast enough to support that growing population. Think about last year, for example, 269,000 people arriving in the GTHA, which is 10,000 more than New York City, and with a population, with an economy that's really too sluggish to really make sure that we have the prosperity for all the people that are here.
Yeah, and it looks like, 80% or more all agree that focusing on growing businesses should be a priority. Can you break down the areas where people are concerned the most? I think housing, it takes a big chunk of that, right?
Sure, housing. And again, thinking about, businesses need employees and employees need a place to live. So real concern about housing. That sort of tops the areas of concern at 67%, saying that's the big concern. But traffic congestion, something we talk about a lot in the city, 57% saying traffic congestion is the big problem holding back business growth and holding back the economy. High taxes. Businesses have been concerned about increasingly high taxes and getting out of sync with, for example, the U.S. States near us, where a lot of businesses have been shifting their expansion south of the border, in part because lower taxes there and lower costs, and so high commercial property costs also was an issue that was cited by literally 55% of respondents. So these are, and interestingly, the Trump tariffs and concerns about annexation, these kinds of threats causing a lot of uncertainty for people. That was sort of in the middle of the pack, interestingly.
That is interesting. And Giles, some of what you just listed there can be sort of fixed by policy or legislation in terms of taxes, et cetera. But when it comes to, housing, when it comes to traffic, I mean, those situations, you can't just sort of suddenly build more roads or build more housing. So what kind of, solutions are you suggesting or recommending that need to be attacked to sort of kickstart things and get things moving as fast as they can, considering how long some things do take?
Well, I think for the longer term, when it comes to traffic and congestion, we're seeing some of the right things happen. We're seeing a significant expansion in our transit build. And you've got the premier talking and in fact moving hard on building two new significant roads, 413 and the Bradford bypass, to alleviate congestion in the region. We haven't had a lot of road building in the last 20 or 30 years in the region, yet we've had massive population growth. But the really big thing is, we've got the biggest transit build in North America going on now. We're seeing a lot of the some of the problems with that in terms of just the construction that goes on and takes up road lanes and so on, causing a little bit more congestion. But in the long term, this is what needs to happen. But in the short term, we at the board have presented the city with a 5-point action plan of really short-term remedies that could alleviate congestion.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're out of time, Giles. But, often I hear a lot of people say Toronto is kind of trying to be a city for everyone, but it serves no one. So it seems like there's a balance of priorities in terms of getting the business up there, but also protecting our social services. Maybe we'll join you for another chat on that and get into more of your ideas. But unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you so much, Giles. Have a good day.
Thank you.